pieces today.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
We are officially started, and welcome. I'm John Ahmann. I'm the president and CEO of the Westside Future Fund, and I'm here with a couple other folks.
Yes. Hey, my name is Ebony Ford. Thank you all so much for being here. I am a proud Hollis Innovation Academy student. Parent. My baby is a student. Sorry about that. And I'm a very, very proud English Avenue resident. Thank you for being here.
Hello, good morning, and what's good, you beautiful people. Thank you for joining us in person. My name is Benjamin Earley. I am a fourth-generation proud Westside resident, so it runs deep within my veins. And so I'm happy to be here this morning to share this wonderful occasion with you all.
Absolutely.
John,
Yeah,
what we got?
I'm thinking about that word, in person.
In person.
Yes.
In person. And this is probably our best in-person attendance since we really got back to in-person, and I'm trying to think about what might be different about this morning.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't
my
put my
haircut,
finger
is
on
it different? What I'm wearing, is it different? Something is
Something
different
is different
about this morning.
Hey,
Yes.
man, you looking good. People see you online. They want
Is
to
that
come
what
see
it
you in
is?
person.
Everyone coming out? All right, it's the haircut, absolutely. But we got an exciting program this morning, and thanks for coming out. And for those that just to check it in, we are still live right now. So the cameras you see around, so folks are watching us live as well. And especially want to kind of start out by welcoming folks that may be here for their first time. We're not going to do anything to you, I promise, but if you're a first-time visitor, just raise your hand. If you're first time being here, all right, let's welcome our first-time visitors.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
You know, very explicit about that because a big part of this Transform Summit is getting to know each other. So we want you to feel welcome, and we want to thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And to do a little quick overview of the program is Benjamin and Ebony are going to talk for just a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to introduce our devotion speaker. I'll talk about that when we do that. We'll have a devotion, and then after the devotion, we're going to take the time to go around the room and let everyone introduce themselves. We'll have a mic, say your name, and then we're going to get right to the program, which is a really exciting program this morning.
Absolutely.
Can't
Very
remember what it is, though. I know it's in my talking points, but I know it's an exciting program.
Yes, it is.
And we're looking forward to it.
Well, that's okay, because I got it. So today is going to be all about the beloved event.
The beloved.
Yes.
The beloved.
So this is so I'm very, very happy again to see so many faces here. As John says, we are live and we are broadcasting on several platforms, and we appreciate you tuning in, but we especially appreciate you guys coming out to be here with us in person. So I've never been to the Beloved event, And I think I may be going this time, so I am very, very excited to hear a little bit more about it a little bit later. And also, there is a very, very important date that is coming up sometime this weekend, or is it Sunday? I think it is. June 19th, which is otherwise known as Juneteenth. Yes, there you go, snap the fingers. You always have the vibe, and you always do. And I'm going to read this to make sure I get this right. So happy Juneteenth Day in advance to everyone who is listening. Juneteenth commemorates June 19th, 1865, when Gordon Granger, a Union general, arrived in Galveston, Texas to inform enslaved African Americans that the Civil War had ended and that they had been freed under the Emancipation Proclamation, which had been signed by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863. So that is a 2-year difference. These people were still enslaved, didn't realize that they were actually freed. So someone actually came and personally delivered the message. So it is really a big deal. So we're definitely very happy that that was made a national holiday, federal holiday, last year, I believe. So very powerful history and very, very important. So yeah, get out and go to some events for that, to commemorate that this weekend.
Absolutely, and just to sort of piggyback off of what Ebony just said, you know, Juneteenth is all about freedom and equity, equality. And one of the things that I love about the summit here is, you know, we see a lot of economic inequality within our city. You know, our city is known for being one of the worst places in America, #1 city for income inequality. Yeah. If you're born into poverty here in Atlanta, you have about a 4% chance of ever escaping it. So when we talk about economic inclusion, when we talk about economic equity for communities of colors, communities that have been for generations neglected, that have been abused in just about every way that you can imagine. We're talking about creating a level playing field. And right now, at this time where the West Side is going through this revitalization, we are entrusted with a responsibility that we make sure that that revitalization is equitable for the communities that have been here, that have been living in this community. For example, my family, like I said, we're 4 generations in. So, you know, as we bring these resources into our community, let's make a conscious effort. Let's continue this conscious effort of creating equal opportunity, not just for new businesses, not just for new residents, but for those that have been in this community for generations. That being said, I'm very, very excited to talk about the Beloved Benefit, because the Beloved Benefit is just about that. It's about creating economic equity and other forms of equity for communities, not just on the West Side, but throughout Atlanta. And so it's a wonderful, soul-stirring annual event. Looking forward to speaking to Dan and Rodney about it this morning. We appreciate you all coming out. If you have not noticed, we're doing things a little bit differently these days. We're trying to save paper because we are one of Trees Atlanta's Tree Partners of the Year, so we take that very seriously. So we don't have printed bulletins, but you can find them on our website. That is westsidefuturefund.org. We also have QR codes in the back next to Craig Lucy. What's going on, big dog?
What's up, Craig?
We got QR codes in the back, so if you want to go ahead and scan those, you can pick up the bulletin that way as well. That being said, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Definitely stay connected with us. We are looking forward to further engaging with you. And, you know, if you have any stories, we want you to share your experience here at the Transform Westside Summit. Help us stay engaged. Help us share this vital information that we share here at the summits online, because this work is important, and the more people who know about it, the bigger the impact can be. So stay engaged with us. We'll be happy to stay engaged with you.
Absolutely.
John?
All right, well, we are gonna shift. I'm gonna set up our devotion. And for our first-time visitors, this is something, you know, we always do. It actually was part of the programming idea that Dan and Rodney really championed, is to always have a devotion to start a meeting. And also, you know, appreciating, I live now in Vine City, and appreciating what a faith-driven community the West Side is. When we did the West Side Land Use Framework Plan on the historic West Side neighborhoods, that in the 5 neighborhoods, there were over 80 churches.
Wow.
And I've heard Ambassador Young say in the past that one of the reasons that there was such a strong movement in Atlanta to protest injustice, but protest it peacefully, was a strong faith tradition of our city. So our devotion is drawn from the lessons of Nehemiah. So from the Old Testament, Nehemiah, who was called back to Jerusalem, and the metaphor of not just rebuilding the city physically, but rebuilding the city on a common set of values. And so we ask our devotion speaker to draw from the lessons of Nehemiah, not necessarily, school from every single chapter in Nehemiah, but draw from the lessons of Nehemiah. And one thing I was actually thinking about on the way over about, Nehemiah is, at the time, he had a fair amount of authority for the time, given to him by the king as the king's cupbearer. So he had a fair amount of authority to decree and have things done. I mean, he still had to use a lot of influence. But one of the things I've really appreciated about these Transform Summits is there's no one person that has, I don't think, the authority of Nehemiah. And so part of this is we're all coming together in common values to connect with one another on a shared vision. So that's one thing I want to appreciate about drawing from that lesson to reaffirm those values. And this morning, and I'll tear up a second, but we always use the devotion statement. It's become our tradition, beginning our meetings with a positive, inspirational message for a member of our community, recognizing that many in our community are driven by their spiritual faith to participate in the Westside revitalization effort. The time at the beginning of our meeting is an opportunity to share various inspirational reflections. While the speakers may articulate their personal faith, it's meant to be inclusive, inspiring, and meaningful with the story of Nehemiah as our guide. So I'm very lucky that a Westside resident and leader chairs the NPU for English Avenue in Vine City. Sade Jones is doing the devotion this morning, and it was only a summit ago that she said to me after the devotion, because we said, hey, we'd love to have people from the community give the devotion. She said, I'd like to give that devotion sometime. Well, we had an opening. And so I called her, I know she might be a little nervous, but I want to say thank you, because when she comes gets to this devotion, in terms of authentically speaking and drawing inspiration from this community, we know you couldn't do anything but that.
Absolutely.
So thank you for giving our devotion, and come on up to the stage to lead us, and let's welcome her up. And I should say too, because she mentioned to me, she walked in, her daughter's here too. Is her daughter, want to raise her hand, make sure we welcome her? Thank you for being here.
Wow. Good day, everyone. Good morning. Good rising. I hope it doesn't offend anyone the way I began the devotion. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who have trespassed against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. I give honor to the Spirit of God, which dwelleth richly in me. I am so thankful to all of you that have come out today. And I am Sade Yvonne Jones. I am a Westside resident. Specifically, I'm an English Avenue resident. Are there any English Avenue residents here? All right. All right. Are there any Vine City residents here? All right, Vine City repping. I serve as the NPU-L chair, which is a neighborhood planning unit that encompasses English Avenue and Vine City. I am committed to the beloved community. Although many people, they use that term loosely, but when it was first proclaimed, many did not understand what the beloved community was all about. And so it teaches us in the word that we are commanded to love our neighbors as ourselves. But it's really important that we realize that if we don't have self-love, we can't love anybody else. And it brings to mind that the problem with many of us is that we have been disempowered to love ourselves by the media, by, different standards that we try to live up to. So that has been stolen from us, and it makes it difficult for us to love one another. But Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that we should put ourselves in a state of mind where you say to yourself, here is an opportunity for me to celebrate like never before my own power, my own ability to get myself to do whatever is necessary. And I would like us to repeat that. Here is an opportunity for me to celebrate like never before. My own power, my own ability to get myself to do whatever is necessary. Thank you. I hope that makes you feel a little stronger this morning, a little more committed to yourself this morning. If Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King would tell us to empower ourselves, indeed, that was something that we should contemplate. And so, while we're talking about love, love has to have to be a driving force within us. To love ourselves is a gateway to loving others. This love concept begins in our mind. It is important to control what our mind tells us, because sometimes our mind tells us the wrong thing, and it misleads us. That's why it's necessary to feed our mind, feed our spirit, as we feed our bodies. If we feed ourselves junk, if we feed ourselves poison, then that will be the state of our body as well as our mind. So the Word of God tells us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. It says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You have the ability to renew your mind day by day. And so I think that we should really try to take a hold to that we will be more engaged with moving forward and loving one another. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King also said, our goal is to create a beloved community. And this will require a qualitative change in our soul as well as a quantitative change in our lives. A qualitative change in our soul, in our spirit, in our mind, in our heart. It has to be transformed. And so I implore you to consider yourself and consider others at the same time. Because how can you love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself? There is no limit what we can achieve with the right thinking and the power of our minds. The mind of Christ consciousness compels us to love ourselves, to love one another, to forgive one another, and create the beloved community within our very souls. I am so thankful to have this opportunity to share with you about love. And I'm hoping that as we go throughout our day, that we will create in us a clean heart and renew in us the right spirit as we share love one to another. In walking in this, we must be moved, to forgive one another within our very souls. And walking in this, we will be moved, our bowels of compassion. As we think about Juneteenth, if we think about the beloved community, as we think about reparations, because reparations was the thought after slaves were released from the bondage, reparations was a part of the conversation. Remember the 40 acres and a mule? That was part of reparations. So as we go forward, Mr. Cathy, you have shown a spirit of love and reparations, whether you realize it or not, because you have a spirit to give, and that you don't shut your bowels of compassion. And that's a charge that we have to keep, that we do not. And not, yes, he can give maybe more than what Tracy can give, but Tracy's bowels of compassion cannot be blocked either. We must all be free to give to one another, whether it's small or large, whether it's a word, a thought, whatever we could share with each other. And when I think about giving and sharing, I think about giving to the least of them. Remember, he said, what you do unto the least of them, you do it unto me. Don't fool yourself that divine light is not the pathway, because indeed it is. Divine light, divine love, it's the pathway. And as we think of it, remember to preserve to acknowledge what God has given us around us. Yes, I'm an environmentalist. So I say, know ye not that your temple is the body of God? Keep your temple clean. You have the responsibility, each of us, to make sure our temple is clean from the crown of our head to the sole of our feet. We are charged also to keep the environment clean, keep the soil. Mother Earth is crying out right now from all the greed and all the ignorance that we have put in place to absolutely take from the environment. But our bodies are also made of a large percent of water, the waterways. The water is so important that we remember to do whatever we can to help preserve the environment, as well as we must remember the fire and how it's necessary. These are elements that God gave us. These are God-given elements that we must always remember and keep in place. So in my closing, I would like to wish all of you guys peace, protection, divine blessings. I want to acknowledge our dear friend and friend of the community, the friend of Atlanta, Mr. Rodney Bullard, and I would like you all to remember him and keep him in your heart and your prayers at this difficult time. And so from the west side to the east side, to the north side, to the south side, we all have an obligation to love one another and to move forward in peace. God bless you.
All right, well, that was awesome. Thank you, and I appreciate speaking to the beloved community and reminding us, those of us who may not be as familiar about it. And you know, as you drive, you know, around the west side, some of the street names you'll see, Donnelly Howell, Joseph E. Boone, Joseph E. Lowry, you know, are named after folks who fought for the beloved community, but fought for it in a beloved way when a lot of folks would have chosen a more violent path to achieve rights. So, you know, Dr. King said you can't replace hate with hate. You know, you can't drive out hate with hate. Only love can do that. And so the folks on the west side, for me as a native Atlantan, really, you know, model that inspiration to not only champion a beloved community, but fight for it in a beloved manner. So thank you for reminding us of that lesson, and let's give her another round of applause. All right, thank you. So now, for those of us that are first timers, God, I feel myself nervous for a second because there's so many folks about to self-introduce. And I guess I'm nervous because I want you to remember that you just need to say your name. We want you to say your name. Then we want you to say an affiliation where you work or maybe where you live. And then we want you to stop. And not because we don't know what's going to come next is not going to be wonderful, but we just want to get around the whole room and get to the program, and we always like to end by 9 o'clock. And we always, if you have more to say, we will put it in our e-newsletter, we will put it up on the board, we will put it up on Instagram, we promise, but we want to make sure everyone says their name, their affiliation, and I'm going to start right here with someone who knows that. I know he's going to do it great, and we're going to go left to right, all down, then we'll come back up, and we'll finish up and go to our program.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Bellows. I'm a West Side resident.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Cranford. I'm a board member with the Veterans Empowerment Organization here on the West Side.
Kenneth Wood. I'm also a board member with the Veterans Empowerment Organization on the West Side.
Brad Meyer. I'm also a board member with the Veterans Empowerment Organization.
Tony Kimbrough, the CEO of Veterans Empowerment Organization on the West Side.
Olga L. Hutchins, VP of Veteran Services with Veterans Empowerment Organization.
Good morning, Rosario Hernandez. I am a resident of English Avenue, and I am the Executive Director of Historic Westside Gardens.
Good morning, Craig Galanos, not really affiliated in any fashion. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Millard Choate. I'm with Choate Construction.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Leroy Wright. I'm the pastor of First Thessalonian Missionary Baptist Church. We are empowered by God to embrace all people and enhance the world.
Good morning. My name is Young Woo. I'm from New York. I'm a developer, only developing in West Side. I never done anything in East Side.
Good morning, Dexter Warrior, T. Dallas Smith and Company Chief Operating Officer.
Hey, good morning, Westside. Dominga Porter, Programming Manager with Our Village United, coming from the beautiful community of Pittsburgh.
Good morning, in Boker Tov. Anyone who speaks Hebrew out there? Sean Watwood, Senior Manager, Sales and Partnership, the Home Depot backyard at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Excuse me. Good morning. I am Mike Vincequera with Trees Atlanta. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Lakeisha Hallman, the CEO of the Village Market and the Executive Director for Our Village United.
Good morning, I'm Howard Robinson, a proud legacy resident of the West Side, and for me and the entire West Side of the audience, happy Juneteenth.
Good morning, my name is Sandra Bush, and I reside in the historic Booker T. Washington neighborhood, which is 2 blocks from Booker T. Washington High School.
Good morning, my name is Barbara Anderson, and I'm from Vine City.
Good morning, I'm Zach Sims, CEO of Corporate Sellout.
Good morning, I'm Tracy Bates with Historic Westside Cultural Arts Council and a resident adopted on the West Side.
Good morning, my name is Charles Flack. I'm an associate partner with a company called Kindrel, and I'm the chairperson for Friends for Scouting for Service Area 1, which represents the east side of Atlanta, west side of Atlanta.
Good morning, I'm Daryl Ashur with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, I'm Grace Lee with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, Adria Jenkins Jones from Southwest Atlanta in the Cascade neighborhood.
Good morning, Melanie Faison, COO at Quest Communities on the West Side.
Good morning, Gwen Grant, resident of West Highlands.
Good morning, I'm Wayne Keith, and I am a resident at Grove Park.
Good morning, I'm Eric Hammond with All Software Consultants.
Good morning, I'm Maria Supporta, founder of Supporta Report.
Good morning, my name is Corey Thomas. I'm the co-founder of Veterans Mold and Minds, helping veterans in transition.
Good morning, Alexander Easterling. I'm the Executive Director of Athletes Media Excellence of Youth Nonprofit Organization here in Atlanta.
Good morning, Alfonso Rogers, Director of Development for Veterans Empowerment Organization.
Good morning, Leonard Adams, founder and CEO of Quest Communities, Westside resident.
Good morning, family. Tillman Ward, Community Resources of Atlanta, based in historic Vine City, former NPU-L chair, and where we all embrace WSNB, making the West Side welcoming, safe, and beautiful. Thank you.
Good morning, Maurice Watson with Wilmington Trust.
Good morning, Danny Choi, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, Managing Director, Youth Development and Historic Westside Atlanta.
Good morning, Mackenzie Brandt with Cox Curry.
Good morning, Evan Karanovich, friend of Sonia Dawson.
Hi, my name is Keitra Bates, and I'm the founder of Marty's Shared Kitchen and Marketplace.
Good morning, Michael Tyler, Hot Talk Radio.
All right, we make sure to get everyone, so I'm going to come around the side.
Hello, I'm Rogers Williams with Icon Filmworks.
Elijah Randall, E-Ran Media.
Deidre Strickland, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, Tamika Askew, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, Natasha Anderson, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, everybody. Crystal Walker, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, Rachel Carey, Westside Future Fund. Good morning, Kelsey Wright, Westside Future Fund and English Avenue resident.
Good morning, Marnie Pittman, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, Crystal Williams, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, Raquel Hudson, Westside Future Fund and member of the Magnus Jones Go Team.
Good morning, Saxon Phillips, Westside Future Fund.
Good morning, I'm Robin Washington with Westside Future Fund.
All right, I think our run is over. Over to Icon.
All right. Let me get my camera lined up. There we go. All right. Good morning. I'm James Hammond with Icon Filmworks.
I'm Brandon Brando with TMPAV.
I'm James Dunn with TMPAV.
Good morning, Misty Kelly with TMPAV.
Good morning, William Kennedy, TMPAV.
Good morning, Jamel Evans, TMPAV.
Good morning, Ralston Haverty with Haverty's. Also blessed to serve on Chick-fil-A Foundation Board. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Bill Bowling with Foodwell Alliance.
Craig Lucy with Lucy Content. Happy Friday.
Daryl Peak, Icon Filmworks.
Good morning, Alex DeLeo, Cox Curry and Associates.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Crafts, and I'm a contractor with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning. My name is Julie Fouts. I just moved to the West Side, and I'm with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning. I'm Joy Moore.
Good morning. I'm Cindy Simpson, consultant.
Good morning, Christian Murphy, Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta.
Hi, I'm Angelette Tucker, affiliated with Emory University, but today I'm here as a resident of Old Fourth Ward, not on the West Side, sorry.
Good morning, my name is Gerard Reynolds. I'm a public relations consultant for Redclay-Hill.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shirley Coleman. I'm Director of Development and Marketing with the Sadie G. Mays Health and Rehabilitation Center.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Merritt. I'm Chief Kingdom Ambassador with Kingdom Atlanta.
Good morning, everyone. Caitlin Behringer, Open Hand Atlanta and Mechanicsville resident.
Good morning. Marvin Bussey, Teens at Work.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ron Alston with Truist Bank.
Good morning. I'm Ellen Landers with the Hands on Atlanta Board and Hydrick and Struggles.
Good morning, I'm David Edson with Cox Curry & Associates.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Buki Otu with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mason Rush, and I'm an intern with the Georgia State Government.
Good morning, my name is Dowling Riley, and I'm an intern with the College Football Hall of Fame.
Good morning again, I'm Sade, and I'm the founder of Green is Life, LYF, Living Your Future, and a partner of Zero Waste Westside.
Good morning, I'm Patricia Jones, and I am the sister of the great devotional speaker, Yvonne Jones. All right. Yes, your name.
Good morning, I am the daughter of Yvonne Jones.
Good morning, everyone. My name is William Gordner with the John Maxwell Company, Maxwell Leadership.
Good morning, everyone. Craig Williams, Director of Strategic Partnerships with Frontline Response and Westside resident.
Good morning. Shantae McLaughlin, CEO of C. Louise, broker for Derrick Automotive, and I ran for City Council in East Point last year.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kim Estes, proud resident of Vine City, so hello, friends and neighbors.
Good morning, Angela Liu with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Angela Little, and I am your nosy neighbor from downtown Atlanta.
Good morning, Kim Nogi with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, Carol Waddy, Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, Matt Lingerfeld with Chick-fil-A.
Good morning, Joey Brown, Partners in Change.
Hi, good morning, Neil Shorthouse, Partners in Change.
Good morning, Warnie Delgado, Global Print for Charity.
Good morning, Tim McNerney, Director of Business Development for Energy Efficient Technologies. Thank you.
Greetings, I'm Dan Cathy with Chick-fil-A, and I provide personal security and bodyguard services for Rodney Bullard. Oh, there he is.
I feel safer. Good morning, my name is Rodney Bullard with Chick-fil-A. John, I'm going to violate your principle just for one time. It is going to be an honor tomorrow to go back to the West Side. My father pastored at Paradise Baptist Church right here in Grove Park, and we're going to intern my mother tomorrow here on the West Side, so thank you all for your support. Thank you for your words, my friend.
Well, maybe with that, in honor of what Rodney just said, maybe we could just all bow our heads and just take a moment of silence. Thank you. All right. Well, is it me first? You first? So I'm teeing up the next part of our program, but I want to say I appreciate taking the time to do the self-introductions. I was thinking again about what we're about to talk about, what got brought up in our devotion, beloved community. So the first part of that is be. Love it, right? And so what I appreciate about the self-introductions is we all be. And so part of the purpose of, for me, the self-introduction, what I've come to appreciate about the introductions is the real power. Imagine beautiful stones just scattered about randomly, but then those same stones on a necklace. And the intentionality of us all getting to know one another. The true power, I think, of what happens is not what any one organization does, but what we do collectively together once we get to know each other. So out of these self-introductions, hopefully maybe you heard someone you think you could help, or maybe someone has an idea about how someone could help them. So we'd encourage that when the summit's over to take advantage of the networking and make that beautiful necklace. So thank you for taking the time to do that. And we have today two very special guests that Benjamin's going to interview. And our two very special guests are Dan Cathy and Rodney Bullard. And they're going to talk about a wonderful event that is their collective brainchild, the Beloved Benefit. And before I was with the Westside Future Fund, I met Rodney, because for those that don't know, Rodney has a wonderful book, Heroes Wanted. And it's a great lesson in leadership and in service, but explains a lot about how Rodney kept pushing on folks to get more engaged in the West Side, because Rodney worked for Fulton County District Attorney's Office and saw firsthand where neglect led. And so really championed, because I remember I first met Rodney when I was still running a group called Atlantic for Progress, championing the corporate community to get more involved in the West Side, Rodney. So thank you for that. And Dan Cathy, when I first met Dan Cathy, at offices that Rodney helped to set up, getting more involved in the West Side. When we walked in the office, and if you work with it a lot, you'll notice that sometimes there are visitors that'll be a part of it. You may not know about that visitor till you arrive, but it's always something wonderful to come of it. And that visitor was Ruth Adani. And when we first met with Dan, he had a real passion about the power of progressive land use and how that could serve the West Side. And a planner named Ruth Adani, who was a real champion of new urbanism. And Dan was very intentional in Chick-fil-A Foundation about supporting the work. Foundationally now, it's the West Side Land Use Framework Plan has been codified by City Council. But thank you for that, Dan. And when I started my work at the West Side Future Fund, back to kind of teeing up what we're about to talk about, Dan asked me to do two things. And one of those two things was to read Lessons of Nehemiah, a book on leadership about Nehemiah. And what I appreciate about both Dan and Rodney is it's obviously, right, back to the devotion, easy to talk about spiritual principles, especially things like love thy neighbor. But to really do those things, especially when you may not like thy neighbor, right, that is a whole nother level. And what I appreciate about both of you and the intentionality of Chick-fil-A is the authenticity of bringing their corporate brand and their corporate resources to do something that initially was very hard. I mean, it's still very hard, but especially initially it was very hard. And and then bringing together the beloved benefit. And I think it's fair to say, drawing some lessons from this community, because I know part of the beloved benefit is making sure people are coming together who don't normally get together. So I know that, for example, the Westside Future Fund got a very small, small ticket allocation, but they were intentional in the instructions. Half need to go to the community. And so thank you for that. And drawing up, and then we are grateful to be a beneficiary of the beloved benefit. And none of that money will go to our organization, so to speak. It'll all go out the door. So I want to be intentional about that. And if you're a recipient of the beloved benefit, why don't you just raise your hand? I know there may be at least one recipient I saw yet, Village United, another. So thank you. And thank you, because I know a big part of the beloved benefit is the outreach they do, because a big part of the win is they are so intentional about outreach to Atlanta's leading corporations and others, and part of that outreach means they're getting educated about what needs to be addressed on the West Side. Benjamin, back to your opening remarks. So thank y'all for being here this morning, and I'm going to turn it over to Benjamin and get off the stage. And I appreciate the way I got to know Benjamin was when we were looking for someone to do authentic messaging about the West Side on our social media. Because when we started the journey, it was maybe folks that weren't from the West Side. It's like, okay, we want someone from the West Side. And you heard his authentic voice, and we're very, really lucky to have Benjamin be a part of their team via Redclay. And I know you're going to take it from here. I'm going to get off the stage and stop talking and lead us with our program.
Well, I appreciate it, John. Yeah, as he said, I am a proud West Side resident. Again, 4 generations in, it runs deep within my veins. I had the pleasure of meeting both Rodney and Dan, on a couple occasions before now. One of the things that I really appreciate about the work that they're doing through the Beloved Benefit, going back to the theme of Juneteenth, what is Juneteenth actually about? It's about creating, again, freedom, equity, equality, and that includes economic equity and equality. This is a historically black community. This is a historically black community that has also been neglected by, government agencies, by investment from corporations, what have you. It's been a food desert. It's been a place where, we've seen crime, where we've seen blight, where we've seen, you name it, as residents. But thankfully, we have resilience as a community. Thankfully, we have the foresight to understand that all we have to do is come together to actually make things better. And I appreciate every single organization in here that's contributing to that. I see a number of faces that are from the community that are working with organizations that stand to benefit from the beloved benefit. And I appreciate the work that you all are doing, because we're not just talking about Juneteenth and equality as a corporate slogan. It was made a federal holiday, hooray, great. But what's the actual work that's being done? At the end of the day, it's not just about saying things that makes us feel good. It's about actually getting out into the community and having an impact on actual human beings. And so in the spirit of Juneteenth, again, I love all my West Side neighbors. It's good to see all of you here this morning, and I'm excited to speak to our special guests. And before we bring them up, we're actually going to play a sizzle reel from the 2019 Beloved Benefit, just to give you a little bit of a taste of what's coming up this year. Enjoy.
We are a few hours out from the Beloved Benefit. We are at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and we have set up an event that really showcases who Atlanta is.
I was born in this city. I choose to live in this city. I love this city.
All of this is in support of a community called the West Side of Atlanta.
We're one people, we're one family, we all live in the same house, the house of Atlanta, Georgia.
The aftermath of nonviolence is redemption. The aftermath of nonviolence is the creation of the beloved community.
We have an opportunity in front of us right now to build this beloved community.
With a light in the darkness, with a life in the promise. Oh, the dream is not forgotten.
I'm going to challenge you tonight. We need more than your money. I want your heart.
Yeah, they grow. Where beautiful things should grow.
It only takes a little bit of time to change the direction and the life of a human being.
We have raised $5,039,000.
Pop, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? What y'all trying to do?
Showtime. I'd like to welcome up our special guest, Mr. Dan Cathy, Chairman, Chick-fil-A, Mr. Rodney Bullard, the man at Chick-fil-A, as well as Chick-fil-A Foundation. You go ahead and sit in the middle, yeah. Gentlemen, we appreciate you joining. Dan, let's get right into it. I wanted to, highlight what the Beloved Benefit is about, what the vision behind it was. You started with Author Blank. This was a team effort between the two of you. So tell us a little bit about the background of the benefit as well as what the vision behind it is.
Well, whenever I crank on new ideas, I like to see what else is going on out there that could help accelerate our learning curve. We have to be well-traveled and see a lot of things. And so a number of years ago, I was watching 60 Minutes on Sunday night, in which there was an interview with Paul Tudor Jones, who is a hedge fund investor in Manhattan, who had a conviction in his heart that there needed to be a stronger safety net financially for social organizations in Manhattan. And as a result, he put together an organization called the Robin Hood event. And this is what was being profiled on 60 Minutes, was this effort in which they would raise $20, $30, $40 million in one night, going to 30 or more organizations in Manhattan. And I was very inspired by that. I thought, man, if they could do that in New York, just think what we could do here in Atlanta. And so we had a group that visited the Robin Hood event. It was a remarkable gala. It was a black tie affair, hard to get tickets to, first-class entertainment. And so a group of us went up there to see the event, learn from it, and we said, we think we can do one better. We think there's elements of this that would be much more inclusive, such as dressing down rather than tuxedos and so forth. Why don't we just wear casual attire, and why don't we engage in the participants who are the beneficiaries of these funds that we're going to wear, where they're not excluded from the event, but they're actually engaged in the event. And rather than having small circles sitting with folks that you already know, why don't we use long tables so everybody can kind of sit together? And maybe rather than having a bunch of corporate logos that may be nice for your ego, why don't we only feature the logos of those recipient organizations that are benefiting from the event itself? So after we put a lot of planning into it, we approached Arthur Blank. Would he be willing to underwrite the expenses of this if I were to match him? And we did, and we had this first event. It was incredibly successful, very exciting. The energy from Bruno Mars and all the other entertainers that we have. And we have just another event coming up here July the 7th that also is going to be very, very exciting. I'll let maybe Rodney, if you want to talk about maybe the folks that are going to be there. But let me just say before I turn over to Rodney, we do raise money, and our focus this year is financial mobility, economic mobility, to be able to move ahead. My dad was the product of the West Side, and he discovered that he could either earn a wage or he could make a profit. And he found by his own entrepreneurial sweat of his brow ambition that he could do far better if he would earn a profit, make a profit versus just earning a wage. And so I think it's one of the great things that we're going to have to jumpstart here in the West Side is economic mobility by encouraging the skills and the ambitions that people have of learning how to make a profit. And so we'll be focusing on that. It's going to be part of the breaking people out of that cycle. Rodney?
No, Dan, I will dovetail on that by saying economic mobility is so central to really what the Westside Future Fund is doing. So many of the lessons that we have from the Beloved Benefit come right from this meeting. Dan thought of this meeting in a sense of how can we come together? How can we come together in a diverse way at a time in which we don't have anything on our calendars early in the morning? And if you look around the room, the diversity of this room is a reflection of our city, a reflection of our community. And so in the same vein, the Beloved Benefit is a reflection of our city, a reflection of our community. It is not just for those who can afford a ticket, it's for those who are part of our community. As the late great Congressman Lewis said, we all belong to the House of Atlanta. But when we think about economic mobility, economics is key to everything. I've never seen a community of wealth suffer from issues, systemic issues of health, systemic issues of education, systemic issues of crime. But I've never seen a community of poverty fail to suffer from those issues. And so at the end of the day, we know that if you have more, you can do more. You have more resource, you have more exposure, you have more desire and passion. And so we're really focusing on employment, we're focusing on education, and we're focusing on entrepreneurship, because we know those three things move economic mobility. And so great organizations like the Village Market represented here, and so we appreciate your work. But other organizations like Quest. And so those organizations will receive dollars, and what's unique about this is that every dollar raised actually will go to the organizations. So Dan said he and Arthur are fitting the bill, and I like to say that Arthur has opened up his home and Dan is paying for the party. And so you all are going to get a chance to come to the party on July 7th. We're going to have Maroon 5, we're going to have Usher, we're going to have Maria Taylor from now NBC, and it is going to be a great event. But it's not just an event, it's not just a party. It really is the embodiment of the beloved community.
And I want to touch on a key word that you just said before we move on, but you said resources. And I can fully attest to that. You know, I'm a little bit further west where I grew up. I grew up over off of MLK toward 285. But my grandmother, my mother, my auntie, my other auntie, they were raised right here in Vine City. They grew up right here. My grandmother was literally born on Whitehall Street in an ambulance. When I think about how my life trajectory has developed versus some people who I know who come from a similar background as I do, same background. The difference in where I am right now on this stage with Dan Cathy and Rodney Bullard and where some of my cohorts are, you know, has been resources. And I mean, it's not that these are incapable minds. It's not that these people are just, you know, bad people or these people. And I'm speaking explicitly about people who I know who have had that run-in with, you know, the streets, who have had the run-in with crime and being a part of that, because that's where they see opportunity. That's where they see the closest opportunity. It's the low-hanging fruit. So when you lack those resources, when you lack the means to actually make a measurable difference in your life, or at least have the stability to even have a frame of thought where you can pursue a vision. A lot of times people can't even pursue it. People can't even dream because they're so busy surviving. They can't see beyond, you know, eating tonight. I knew people who went to school with me who only showed up to school because they knew it was a guaranteed meal. And then you wonder why their test scores, you know, are what they are. Well, they got to go home and they have no food in the cabinets. They got to go home and they've got no furniture at home. So, you know, I appreciate being intentional about actually investing in the actual people in this community and throughout Atlanta who are suffering from poverty, who are suffering from neglect. And I commend, again, every single organization that is going to be receiving these funds and every organization that is connected to those organizations for doing the steady work that they're doing to make sure that we create a safety net for people so that they actually have opportunity growing up. That being said, I do want to touch on what makes the Beloved Benefit unique, what makes it different, and what were some of your favorite memories from 2019?
Ben, before we jump back to talk about below benefit, but just to comment on what you're describing here. Part of the challenge that we all have in life in general is that we might have be inspired by examples of others, to be ambitious about our life, to have positive role models in our life, to give us examples in our life. I enjoy playing golf, and this weekend I'll be watching the U.S. Open, and I'll be inspired by the quality of the skills that people have. And if you don't have access to inspiring people in your life, you don't have access to role models in your life, it makes it difficult to understand successful patterns in life. And so part of our whole Westside effort here is to profile, as we do here regularly on this stage, entrepreneurs, leaders in this community who've made good choices, positive choices in their life. And also be inspired by others. Tragically, unfortunately, many people don't have good role models in their parents. I was so very, very fortunate that I had godly Christian role models in my life. Rodney, we're just celebrating the life of Rodney's parents as well, who had godly Christian role models in his life. He got to see the faithfulness of his dad. He got to see the nurturing, caring spirit of his mother, and I the same way. So a lot of these cycles that we're dealing with are the result of some dysfunctional family situations that somehow we're going to have to come to the rescue in some way. It could be a coach, an athletic coach. It could be an inspiring teacher that helps people have more inspiring. So, all this is about trying to crank back up the healthy dynamics of what could be a very, very successful, wonderful, desirable, place to live. But we know we've got some fundamentals that we've got to put back in place. And so that means that those that God has blessed, business people, other leaders, we're going to have to kind of lean into this. It's going to take a lot of effort. But on our watch and our day, how can we turn our head and go a different direction? I do believe this is very much like the individual who was accosted and he was in the ditch, and several people walked by and ignored the problem. But I don't think we can ignore the problem. We see it played out tragically in our headlines. It seems like every day of what happens when we don't have positive choices and inspiring people in our life. And hopefully even an event like this could be a life changer for people to come and be inspired, excited about what can happen when we lean forward and we invest in the lives of other people.
To piggyback on that, and you asked what inspired me most about the Beloved Benefit. One, it inspired me that we were bringing parts of Atlanta to an awareness of other parts of Atlanta. So I grew up in South DeKalb. I grew up in a neighborhood near South DeKalb Mall, Candler Road, Gresham, Flat Shoals, that frankly has as many problems as the West Side here. And I grew up in a neighborhood that we didn't get a chance to go to Buckhead. We didn't get a chance to go to Alpharetta. We didn't get a chance to go to a whole host of places. And frankly, now that I can go to those places, I fully recognize that those folks from Roswell, Buckhead, and Alpharetta, they're not coming to South DeKalb Mall. And so we don't have this comity. We don't have this understanding of one another. And as Dan said, as a consequence, we don't have role models of one another. And so we come up with stories about one another. And that impedes economic mobility and resource. That impedes opportunity. And even though you may be doing as well as you can on the West Side, you might not have all the resources that someone on the other side of town has. You may not have all the relationships, aware of what can happen. So you may not have that role modeling. But we know that in a generation, through education, through entrepreneurship, through employment, things can change. And we talk a lot about affordable housing, but affordable housing is interesting to us because that's relative. When I was 18, I could afford X, and now I'm 47, I can afford a different X. And so affordable housing is dependent upon your employment, depending upon your education, depending upon your wallet at the time. And so how do we buttress that for communities, legacy residents in this community, so you can in fact stay in this community? Because you don't want it to stay as it is. You want to ride the crest, but you want to be able to ride the crest. And so that's what really the Beloved benefit is about. It's bringing everybody together so we can get to know each other, so that folks from other parts of town, in fact, get a chance to know the beauty and the majesty of the West Side. And so also we get a chance to say, you know what, I'm not in awe of any other place either, and we're just as good.
And that's one reason why I'm proud of the work that Westside Future Fund is doing through its Home on the West Side program. The Home on the West Side program, if you haven't heard of it, provides equitable, low-cost, basically very affordable, deeply affordable rental and home ownership opportunities for legacy residents of the historic West Side. And you can learn more about that on the website, westsidefuturefund.org/home on the West Side. I encourage you to check it out. I encourage you to donate, because it is all about what you said. It's all about providing that safety net, providing the opportunity of home ownership. Because when we talk about generational wealth, when we talk about leaving a legacy, a lot of that starts with home ownership. In America, home ownership is the staple thing for starting and building generational wealth. And so when you are cut out of that opportunity, because, you know, if you really want to dig into the history of it, since it is Juneteenth and in the spirit of, you know, honesty and transparency and freedom and equity for all, you know, the U.S. government invested in white home ownership after the latest World War. They invested in white home ownership. The historic West Side was not always a black community. It started out being largely white. And when you got the GI Bill, that was when the government started subsidizing suburban living for white families. But black people didn't have that opportunity. Black people were left out of that opportunity. Black people were being discriminated against by banks that were providing loans and mortgages to white families in the suburbs, so that all that was left was the places that those families had abandoned. And so we've made the most of it, and we've thrived throughout it. And I'm proud. I'm feeling very proud right now. I'm looking, exactly, sister. This Juneteenth is very special to me. You know, I'm celebrating my own accomplishments. I'm celebrating knowing where my family comes from and knowing where we're headed. And I'm seeing that as a case scenario for what is possible, again, when people have the right resources. And again, I appreciate the work that all of these organizations here are doing to invest in this community, to invest in the people in this community, so that we can actually have equal opportunity. So, you know, again, check out Home on the West Side. It's westsidefuturefund.org/Home on the West Side. And that being said, Rodney, I know you didn't have a chance to host the Beloved Benefit last year, but you started up something new. COVID brought the opportunity to start up the Beloved Conversation Series. Why don't you talk a bit about that?
So we've been very pleased and proud, and so members of the team here, Carol Waddy, Kim Nogi, have helped us start the Beloved Conversation Series. And so, as everyone did during COVID, we went virtual and we went online, and we want to continue this conversation about economic mobility and continue this conversation about coming together and do this in a virtual way. And so we had a number of luminaries. We started with Steve Harvey and billionaire Robert Smith, and they talked about economic mobility and what it meant to them in their own personal lives. And we had over 2 million individual viewers log on. And so we're going to continue the Beloved Conversation Series. It is the evergreen portion, because we will have an event from year to year, but the evergreen portion is the Beloved Conversation Series. And we're going to continue to think about what can we do programmatically and in other ways so that this continues to be meaningful and continues to be relevant.
And to each of you, Dan, we'll start with you. What does, you know, the focus on economic mobility actually mean for Beloved? What does that actually mean for you all?
Well, we know that there's a horrific statistics that we know associated with the life expectancy between Bankhead and Buckhead. Another horrific statistic that we have is that if you're born in poverty in Atlanta, you only have reportedly a 4% chance of getting out of the destructive cycle of poverty. Only 4% chance. And this is a national survey in which Atlanta tragically ranks as one of the lowest cities in terms of being able to get out of poverty. We need to address this issue. We know that there's lessons to be learned from other communities, but we also know that it's going to take a lot of investment in time and treasure. We will be raising this year, our goal is to raise $10 million that will go to 8 different service organizations that are directly ministering into the issue of financial and economic mobility. Today, I'm happy to report that we have commitments for $5.5 million that have already been raised for this evening. Yeah, thank you. And so there are a lot of very concerned people out there who also want to reinvest in the community. Now, we still have about $4 million to go. And so if you want to go ahead and make a deposit this morning to help us make that goal, you just go ahead and leave that check with us, leave it with Rodney, and we'll add, but hopefully we'll be able to announce that night that $10 million of its heart, it represents passion, it represents concern, that there are people who care, who do care about their brothers, and we are our brother's keeper. And as John Lewis says, you know, we are the city, we are the home, we are the big house of Atlanta, Georgia, and we need to be caring for one another. And I think we're going to see that on display on July the 7th.
That's right. And these, that $5.5 million in counting that we've raised has come from largely corporate Atlanta. Not just corporate Atlanta, obviously there are individuals such as Arthur and Dan and others, but Chick-fil-A, UPS, Home Depot, Coca-Cola, Delta, Google, new entrants to town, also a part of this effort. And so part of this is not just creating a coalition of individuals, but also a coalition of all of our resources. We have an embarrassment of riches here in Atlanta. Pound for pound, we have more Fortune 500 corporate headquarters in Atlanta than any other city in the country. And that's part of our economic disparity. And so we need to bring that to bear. And we also have Millard Choate, thank you for Choate Construction as well, being a part of the beloved benefit, and that's worthy of note. So we are bringing folks together in that effort, but it takes everybody. So please tell folks about July 7th. We will likely have a larger allocation of tickets as we get closer, and we'll continue to push those tickets out to the community so that more and more of the community can come.
And I love that you are actually doing that because, for a number of reasons, but specifically when you come from a community that has been underserved, like historically underserved, and you hear talk of organizations that are doing this and doing that as far as investing in the community, as far as, people who are living in those conditions are concerned, none of that mean anything to them. If they don't actually see directly tangible, measurable impacts that are happening in their community, in their neighborhood, that includes them. And that's the key part that I love and I want you to continue to emphasize about the beloved benefit is it is inclusive. It is not, we're bringing resources to your community, but you not going to be a part of the benefit, And so I love that you're reaching out because that's how it should be. Frankly, that's what it should be is if you are talking about investing in the community, it's only right that those people have a seat at the table that you're offering, And so I'm thrilled again to get more into it, but tell us a bit about the organizations that'll be benefiting from the benefit, from the beloved benefit. We got a tongue twister going there.
So if we could go back to that slide that we have right here, absolutely. So career-wise, Goodwill of North Georgia has done a wonderful job, particularly around employment and ensuring that we are skilling people up so that they can go into the workforce. Latin American Association, because look, this is not just a black-white issue. This is a community issue. And so Latin American Association also does a wonderful job in that sense. The Village Market, which we have represented here today, Gooder, around food insecurity and knowing that is a big and vital part. Quest Communities that you all are familiar with, there you go. And Quest is ensuring that we have affordable housing, but also helping those build the housing who are also a part of this community. And then obviously our very own Westside Future Fund right here that we're very proud of. So one note that I think is very important is you have beneficiaries, but you also have community beacons. And one of the things is we're giving larger dollars to the beneficiaries, typically larger organizations, but also the community beacons are some small organizations that we didn't want them to be left out either, because they're doing great grassroots work. And so they will get $25,000 or more. Additionally, they will get consultative assistance on how can they continue to grow their breadth of work, their breadth of leadership. And so we want those organizations that are small today to be the big organizations of tomorrow. And so this is an equal opportunity for them as well.
And I think you just touched on it a bit, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. How do you see these particular organizations actually having an impact, a tangible impact on economic mobility?
So really, we chose, and we have a blue ribbon panel that will choose organizations typically. But we chose these organizations because of their return on investment. And again, going back to our 3 E's, employment, entrepreneurship, and education. And those are, in some form or fashion, we want those to be the moniker for how we choose these organizations. Now, sometimes there's a greater mix on entrepreneurship or a greater mix on employment, but we really are looking to see who is effective in their work. And at the end of the day, if you're effective in your work, we want to support your work.
Yeah, I mentioned part of what we want to do as we continue to grow and develop here on the West Side is teaching business skills, even among non-for-profit organizations, so they can simply be more effective. Recently, we had what we call the True Inspiration Awards, in which we awarded millions of dollars via Chick-fil-A restaurant operators to worthy, remarkable organizations in the local community. We hosted them for a 3-day summit in Atlanta in which we dealt with basic business skills of planning, strategic planning, resource development, leadership development, succession, very important fundamental topics that any organization, profit or not-for-profit, need to be addressing. And so I hope that over time that we'll be able to play a role in many nonprofits that are here, that we can use this setup and our relationships here as a platform to continue to improve our overall effectiveness with the resources that we are entrusted with. You know, how can we make the most out of those resources? So if a role that we can play there, then we want to play that. Let's bring the best business-minded, not only the heart that we all share together, but also business mind to be as effective as you possibly can with the resources that we have.
And what would you all want to be, what do you want to be the long-term impact of the benefit? We understand, we're investing in these organizations this year, but what is the vision beyond 2022 for the Beloved benefit?
I would say the long-term benefit, Ben, is that we elevate the awareness of the challenges that our community has, but we also elevate the solutions that we have by the positive examples listed here on the screen that we had. We've got people that are running some incredible organizations. They're putting their heart, soul, their mind, their life, they're just pouring everything they're in, and they're doing it so selflessly for other people. We should be inspired by those examples of City of Refuge and all the other wonderful organizations that we have here in the West Side, and we should be compelled that we want to invest in these worthy organizations. They need the resources, and God has blessed us. I love the fact that it represents such a breadth of Atlanta that'll be attending this event. And it's a proud moment. We need these celebratory events as a city to celebrate the good things that are happening. And it should inspire us all to continue to reinvest back in our communities.
I'll answer that question in a similar way. If there's anything that you take away from this, take away that the Beloved benefit is for 2 things. It is one, to bring all of Atlanta together. That in fact, we are one Atlanta. And so the long-term benefit in part for us, as Dan said, is to bring our diversity together and bring our strengths together, bring our resources together. And then also to ensure that we go further together and that we go further in an equitable fashion. And so that sense of economic mobility is the reason why we gather, and it's the purpose for our gathering.
And, just to really drive the point home, I think, we talk about being one city, one Atlanta. I think about it as we're one body, and within one body, you can't neglect any portion of it. If your hand isn't doing okay, You can't just leave it there and, oh, well, I'm the head or I'm the shoulder, you know, I don't have to worry about the arm. At the end of the day, the problems that exist there, if they're not addressed, they will travel throughout the rest of the body. So it's not just, you know, it's not just about being kind of heart. It's not just about being a good neighbor. It's also about caring for yourself, because we are reflections of each other. You know, like Rodney, I see myself in you. Dan, I see myself in you. I see myself in everybody in this room. And when you're coming from a community, again, that's been underserved, it is impossible to think outside of certain circumstances when you are struggling to figure out what is going to happen at the end of today. Am I going to eat? Is it going to be a safe place for me to sleep? Are my kids going to have a safe place to sleep? Are my kids going to have food? You know, is my disabled family member going to be taken care of? You know, we don't have necessarily the same income as somebody that lives in Alpharetta does. So what are we going to do as far as taking care of these resources? When you talk about affordable housing isn't just affordable housing. Affordable housing is more money in your pocket so that you can invest in childcare, more money in your pocket so that you can invest in quality health care, more money in your pocket so that you can invest in actually nourishing your body, greatness life, and not, you know, not serving yourself junk, as she said. You know, when all that is left is you have to deal with, you know, eating what most people would not want to eat. But for the means of survival, this is what you got to do. This is what's affordable. Well, that might be affordable right now, but long term, it's more expensive because health begins to play a role, you know. And there are people who have been caught in this cycle, this loop of just surviving for so long that, you know, it really requires somebody who cares and somebody who understands the situation that they're going through enough to offer a different way of living, offer an opportunity for a different way of living. Because that's the difference between the people who have in Atlanta and the people who don't. It's opportunity. The West Side is full of brilliant minds. The West Side is full of brilliant innovators, brilliant entrepreneurs, brilliant artists, brilliant educators, brilliant intellectuals. But these people have not necessarily had the same opportunities, have not had the same resources at their disposal as other parts in this city. And if we're ever going to lose this title that we have right now as the champion of income inequality in America, it's going to require us thinking as one body, as one family. Because again, the issues that exist here on the West Side, you know, they might be home on the West Side. The issues that exist on the East Side or the South Side, they might be at home on the East Side or South Side. But North Side, you know, that's only a couple minutes away. That's a quick drive. So if I know that you got something that we have been struggling for generations down here, you know, how much sense does it make for me to continue looking at a lack of opportunity and looking at a lack of investment when you have it all in your community and not feel some type of way about that, not take action on that? And I think we see that reflect right now, you know, in the crime that we've been seeing throughout our city. It's not that people are just born bad. It's not that people are just born wanting to, you know, sell drugs or born wanting to break into people's homes or break into people's businesses. Nobody is born like that. Like, nobody. That is a reflection of a failure of our community to invest in these people who are most at disadvantage right now. And so I appreciate, again, the Beloved Benefit. I appreciate all of the organizations that are benefiting from the Beloved Benefit and all of the work that they're continuing to do to help make sure that Atlanta lives up to its actual potential, because this city can be so dope. Like, this city is dope, but it can be, the potential of Atlanta is incredible. And so if we're ever going to actually live up to that potential, we have to think as one family and we have to think as one body. And that being said, I understand you guys have an opportunity. Thank you. I understand you guys have an invitation and an opportunity for people to join. How can people get involved with the Beloved Benefit?
Well, pay attention to these organizations that we're highlighting here, be engaged with them. I think there's also just helping us publicize the event itself and help us get tickets out. We're still fundraising, so as many opportunities as we have to tell the story of the needs that are out there, it raises the overall elevation of the awareness, and awareness is a big part of what we want to accomplish with the blood benefit.
And I will also add, if you can follow us on social media, we're on your handles, Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Go to Beloved Benefit, follow us on social media, tell others what's going on, tell others the why of the Beloved Benefit, because it's not intuitive. People won't fully understand what this is or why this is, so explain that. Do what you can in your own space.
Rod, do you want to comment on the term Beloved Benefit and the historical nature of that? I don't think we mentioned that.
So, you know, when we looked at Robin Hood, and you're right, Robin Hood, Dan, Robin Hood's a wonderful event. It's a great event. Literally, there's Oprah there. There's Bill Gates here. I kept trying to get to Oprah's table, but I was a little bit too scared. And by the time I got there, Gail had taken us someplace else. And so, but we wanted to have this event that really spoke to Atlanta as the beloved community, as this shining city on a hill. And the beloved community is a Quaker notion that Dr. King popularized. And it's a notion where we don't have any isms. We don't have racism. We don't have sexism. We understand loving ourselves, as you said earlier. Loving ourselves is an opportunity to love someone else. And that we should love each other as if we are all of the same body. And so if you need something and I have it, I give it to you. Because we're part of the same community, the beloved community, where love preeminates everything else. And so we know that we have done this in pockets for the world. The civil rights movement came out of Atlanta. And we think that Atlanta influences everything. And so because of that, we want to continue to be the city on the hill. And so that's why we named it the Beloved Benefit, because we think that's fitting for what we're trying to achieve.
Excellent. And Dan, I know you got to run, so Rodney, stick around. We got a few questions from the audience, but y'all help me thank our special guest today, Mr. Dan Cathy, Mr. Rodney Bullard. And
now I get to brag on Dan a little bit while he's gone.
All right, Dan, we'll catch you on the flip side, big homie. Question from the audience, Rodney. Can you tell us more about the conversation series? Who are some of the speakers this year?
If you all can pull up that slide again for me, because I remember most of them, but we had a number of speakers, Ross Brewer and Susan Taylor. So one of the things that we did with the conversation series is we wanted it to be an interview between two or more people. And so we would pair folks together so that they could have a great conversation. We had Jason Carter and Killer Mike. And in some ways, they were unusual pairings because we wanted to, again, kind of showcase a little bit of diversity. And they would talk about their own experiences, and that would be helpful. Now we have the conversation series that is relaunching. And so we've had the opportunity for CEOs of Atlanta, Delta, Truist, Chick-fil-A, and others come together to talk about what those companies are doing in the community around economic mobility. We also have heard from Chris Womack, and I had the opportunity to talk to Chris Womack about what Georgia Power is doing. And Georgia Power has long been a champion of economic mobility, whether they called it that or not. And so we'll continue to have these types of pairings that are unique in some ways, that are local in some ways, but are national in other ways, so that you can hear more about this series, and we'll continue to evolve it. And frankly, if you have ideas, we'll take that too.
And while we're at it, this next question kind of follows up, and you spoke on it a bit, but if you could just go a little bit further, how would the funds be distributed? Can you tell us more about that?
So the funds are coming in, and instead of the funds going to the actual dinner that we will enjoy or the entertainment that we will enjoy, the funds are actually going through the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta. And then those funds are going to be distributed, because the Community Foundation is our fiscal agent. They're going to be distributed directly to those organizations, those beneficiaries and those beacon organizations. And so the vast majority of the Community Foundation takes, I think, maybe a 3% convenience fee, but 97% of those dollars outside of that convenience fee will go straight to organizations like the Westside Future Fund. And so you all know, we did continue to raise money even during COVID. So we raised $800,000 in 2020, even though we didn't have an event. And so dollars did flow to the Westside Future Fund as a result of that. And yes, we've raised $5.5 million already, which is beyond what we raised in 2019. 2019, we raised $5.125 million. And now we've raised 5.5 and counting. We have great partners like Cox Curry, who part of the team is here today, David Edson and his team. They've been helpful, amazingly helpful in raising this money. And we're going to continue to go forward. We're in conversations with companies like Walmart and hoping that they will come in and also continue to lift. Corporations like Wilmington Trust, we appreciate your support as well. So, we're going to continue to raise money, and every year we'll get bigger. Dan talked some big numbers for New York. They actually raised $60 million the last time we were at the Robin Hood event in one evening. But they've been doing it for 30 years. And so they have a little bit of a head start. We're going to continue to do this. But $5.5 million, David, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is still one of the leading fundraisers for the city of Atlanta. So to put things in perspective, we're doing very well.
And final question, how do you see the Beloved benefit continue to grow? Like, what do you see as far as the future is concerned?
So I think the Beloved benefit will grow in a host of ways. I think it will grow one beyond Atlanta because this issue of economic mobility is really not just an Atlanta issue. It is an issue that is resident in Chicago, in LA, in Chattanooga, wherever. And so we will continue to grow in our presence beyond Atlanta, which we think will grow our corporate presence and our corporate awareness as well. Robin Hood became Wall Street's foundation, and so that helped them raise money. Our ambition is for this to become corporate Atlanta or corporate America's benefit. And through that, we know we can get greater gravitas, greater resource, and we can bring more to the fight. And quite frankly, we should be collectively looking at this issue because in some ways, we splinter. Coca-Cola gives over here, Chick-fil-A gives over here, UPS gives over here. But what happens if we give in a collective fashion as what has been seen through the Westside Future Fund? Westside Future Fund is an example of that. Everybody came together to give for the Westside. Money was raised in a significant fashion, and we have seen the benefits and the fruits of that.
And I look forward to continuing to see the benefits and fruits of that. Again, the historic Westside is a historically black community. It is where Martin Luther King raised his family, where, he and Coretta Scott King lived. You can actually come out to, that is a great point. Come out and take a tour of the Westside with Westside Future Fund. And I'll have John speak to when you can actually do that, but go on the website and just sign up to take a tour. And you'll get to see the historic neighborhoods of Vine City, English Avenue, and several others, but you'll get to see some of these landmarks. The house where Dr. King and Coretta Scott King lived. You'll get to see the scale of what Westside Future Fund is doing as far as providing equitable and affordable housing for legacy residents. And you'll get to see the scale of how leveraging key partnerships amongst different organizations can actually come together to have a genuine and measurable impact on not just one generation, but future generations as well. Because again, we're talking about affordable housing not just being a right now thing, but that is an investment in the future of that family that gets to take advantage of it. It is an investment in creating wealth equality for people who have been lacking that for generations. It's an opportunity for our city to actually take a step forward to remove this tarnished title of 4%. If you're born into poverty, you only got a 4% chance of escaping it. Again, that goes back to housing. That goes back to being able to take out some home equity, invest in a business, to take out some home equity and form a startup, to be able to come to a place like here, to be able to afford to come to a place like here in the gathering spot where you can connect with other entrepreneurs and be able to, build out and build up. So again, we are looking forward to seeing all of the work that continues to come from Westside Future Fund, as well as every one of the other organizations benefiting from this year's beloved benefit. That being said, I want to thank you again, brother. I appreciate you coming out.
Appreciate you. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And we're going to tee it back up for my amazing co-hosts, Mr. John Ahmann and Miss Ebony Ford. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Awesome conversation. That was awesome. So many points, talking points that just stuck with me. Ms. Jones, when she said, we are charged to be kind, to serve our communities, build up our communities, protect our communities, clean up our communities. Also, I think it was Mr. Cathy that said, we want to teach people on the West Side how to not just make a wage, but to make a profit, to contribute towards that financial mobility. And that is just a really big deal because, like you said, if you have affordable housing, you have extra money left over for other things, so your entire trajectory of your life, the entire quality of your life increases. So just a lot of really good talking points. I'm very inspired. Thank you, Mr. Earley. It was awesome.
It was a pleasure. John, you got any final thoughts?
Well, awesome job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good.
And you might understand now, he was specifically requested to be the host of the conversation, so he does a great job. Thank you.
Y'all gonna make me blush in here now. I'm chocolate, but I can still blush, all right?
That's right.
And I know it's the hair. But I was reflecting on the conversation, Rodney, and how intentional y'all are in bringing people together that don't typically come together. When Dr. Martin Luther King won the Nobel Peace Prize for his, which was a recognition from the world, not necessarily from America, from the rest of the world, won the Nobel Peace Prize. At first, the Atlanta business community was going to have nothing to do with it. Think about that. Nothing to do with it. Pretend it didn't happen. And it was the Coca-Cola company, then led by Robert Woodruff, the most powerful corporation in Atlanta, that said, we're not going to do that. We're going to have a dinner to recognize the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. And so when that dinner was hosted at the hotel, it was the first time black and whites sat together at the same table. Right? And I, as an Atlanta native, reflected that a lot of reasons corporations want to landed in Grove Park is because of the legacy, not just for justice, but how justice was delivered. Peacefully, but brutally. And so I was reminded of that when you bring people together, and let's thank you, Rodney, for the beloved benefit and intentionality of bringing together people that don't always sit at the same table. So thank you. So I got off track there for a second.
No, you're good. You're very good. And now
we're about to do something exciting.
Yes.
Which is we're going to do 2 drawings. Mm-hmm. So bring up the tickets. So the 2 drawings, and y'all, we're going to add. I was authorized to add a 3rd drawing.
Oh wow, exciting. Okay.
A 3rd drawing at the end, which is the last drawing will be for a ticket to the beloved beneficiary.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, okay, well, let's get to drawing then without further ado. But first of all, we're going to do, and this is Miss Kelsey Wright, Westside Future Fund. She's playing Miss Vanna White up here today, y'all. Give her a hand. So we are going to give away a gift card from Goodwill of North Georgia. So Goodwill of North Georgia just opened their brand new location on Metropolitan Parkway. It is awesome. So please go. I don't remember the exact address, but just, you can search it online. And it is awesome. Please go in there. Your money goes towards getting people trained so they can get higher wage jobs and kind of contribute towards that financial mobility for residents on the West Side. They're also giving a gift card away today, and the lucky winner, thank you, Ms. Wright. Oh, you know what? Let me do a little shuffle, extra shuffle. All right.
Make it equitable now.
Drum roll. So the winner of the Goodwill of North Georgia gift card is number 130106. Who's that? Oh. It is the blue one as well. By the way, 130106. Come on. I know the person didn't leave.
1301.
Okay, we're going for the second one.
Going once.
Okay, second number, 130080. Yes, there we go. Mr. Bussey.
Congrats.
Cool. Mr. Bussey, just come up a little. Oh, you give it to him now? Okay. Make sure you come back so we can get a picture with you, okay? If I give it to you now, will you come back? All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. And also, Home Depot Foundation is also giving a gift card away today. They are a huge contributor. They've invested millions of dollars to revitalize the West Side. And again, they are also giving a gift card away today, so they're always giving, and we definitely appreciate it on the West Side. Shuffle, 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 drum roll. So the winner for the Home Depot Foundation gift card, the number is 3990477. 3990.
Right.
Thank you. Hey.
Congrats.
There you go, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you being here today. Make sure you come back so we can get a picture with you, okay? Okay, thank you.
All right. Congrats to our winners.
Let's try. Oh, there she mixed them up already. Okay. All right. I'm gonna close my eyes on this. This is a big deal. Okay.
For the
I want
big
everybody to
ticket.
say I cheated. I don't even know what color I'm gonna get. Okay, y'all. All right. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay, so it's red. Good start. Okay. And the winning number for a beloved benefit ticket is. I claim it. Yes.
She said she got it.
She got it already. That's it. That's it.
She got it.
The winning number is 3990470.
All right.
Mr. Wright, I don't have it. Well, you know, for right now, we'll give you this. Oh, you know what? We do need to check on this one, huh? There you go. And for right now, we'll get your ticket to you a little bit later. Right now, you got that one, okay? No problem at all. Yeah, so he's going to get it later, right? Okay. Congratulations to everyone. Well, that is exciting. Thank you. I'm glad you were authorized to give that away. All right.
I didn't authorize it, but I was happy
you were empowered.
Empowered. That's
you were
right.
supported. Absolutely. So make sure, Mr.
We got a couple more announcements, and we'll wind up in about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got one more thing?
I sure do. So as a reminder, as Mr. Ahmann mentioned here, Westside Future Fund's program-related investment program provides low-cost loans to minority business owners that serve the West Side, that are either based on or serve the West Side. We are very excited to share that we are partnering with Village United on Elevate, which is an incubator for minority business owners. Very, very excited about that. So Elevate has a strong track record of success, and they now have a West Side cohort. The program will take up to, get this, 25 entrepreneurs. So that is huge. And Ms. Lakeisha Holman is here with Elevate. Hey, Ms. Holman. And she's right here. So if anybody has any questions after the program, please get with Ms. Holman and she can answer those questions for you. We also have some literature in the back on our tables with further details about that. And also, Village United is a beneficiary of the Beloved Benefit. All right, so congratulations as well. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
And again, quick shout out. We love the work that y'all do. We love the work of, Pittsburgh
Absolutely.
Yards, which is another fantastic community organization doing fantastic work in equity and economic opportunity here in Atlanta. So y'all check them out as well. We appreciate it.
And we thank all y'all for being here. I think he just had to step out, but I did want to thank, we have a new, new voice with the Arthur and Blank Family Foundation. Some of y'all may know Danny Choi, who recently rejoined the Arthur and Blank Family Foundation. You heard him in his introductions, but he has oversight for the historic West Side. He had been with the Blank Family Foundation before, and he had been over at Eastlake, and we've taken a lot of lessons on our work from Eastlake. So thank you, and I know Danny's been making the rounds as they think about the next evolution of their strategy. So thanks again, and as a reminder, Arthur Blank and the Foundation is a co-sponsor of the Beloved Benefit with Chick-fil-A, and we appreciate all that great support. So thank y'all for being here, and hopefully, like I said at the beginning, it's a lonely thing to be in a community of one person, and now that we've all introduced ourselves and know each other, to take the intentionality to follow up on that. So thank y'all for being here.
Absolutely. We'll be back July 15th. We're not going to be here on the 1st. We'll be back July 15th. Stay engaged with us on social. We appreciate y'all. Be safe. And stay hydrated. Good God, it's hot out there.
Drink some water. Man, you did so good, man.
Thank you.
It was so authentic, Hey. Now I gotta dance like I always do. No, it's my same dance, right? Hey.
Need to get you a job announcing them lottery tickets.
I know, huh? Hey, don't put no ideas in my head.
If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top